Hi everyone, and welcome to week 6 of this. So this week is going to be a bit different because I would like to show you what other things I do in my workshop except from goldsmithing. And I know that goldsmithing and manufacturing is what it's interesting to most people. But having this kind of company is not only, unfortunately, staying at my bench and working. That's what I would like to do. I would love to do that all day. But unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. So one of the things that I'm going to do this week is actually to send an application to participate to an art fair. So this process goes through an art foundation called the Michelangelo Foundation. They are doing an exhibition in Venice and it's centered around craftsmanship. So it's ideally perfect for us, and that's going to take like 2 or 3 hours, I think, to do. So that's one of the things that I'm going to do this week. I'm also going to do some manufacturing. Also, last week we received a commission. So this exhibition is called Homo Faber, which means maker man. So this is organized by the Michelangelo Foundation and they are an NGO. Their aim is to sponsor and bring the beauty of craftsmanship to the world. So unfortunately I don't have like too much time this week, but I'm gonna do the best I can to do maybe 2 small flowers, which is what I would like to put in the back of the tiara, and so I'm gonna work on that. Also, if you're wondering about galleries and if the other gallery actually called us back, they didn't. They never sent us anything. They never showed any kind of interest. So we'll see. We're going through other routes, and some of them are going to be fairs and places where we can actually like showcase our jewelry, because jewelry is just so much better in like live and in your hands than it is on paper and in pictures. So that's it for this week. This is what I'm going to do, and hopefully exhibition in Venice is going to go through. It would be amazing, because honestly we want to show the jewelry I create to the world. I'm a bit scared about that, honestly. I've decided that one of the flowers I'm going to make this week is this one. So it's going to be full petaled and with some diamonds in it. Obviously ocean diamonds, and obviously in Fairmine gold, because that's the only material I use. Also, I would love to do this little 4-petaled baby here. Yeah, I'll go to work now. This is where I work when I'm not at the bench, which is here. That's my bench. And unfortunately it's a lot of time. I'm here with my like iPad or with my huge weekly calendar, and I'm starting to work at the application for the Homo Faber exhibition. It's gonna take so long to do it. That's another aspect of being an artist jeweler. I don't see myself as an artist, honestly. I just wanted to show you that being an artisan or an artist means a lot more than just creating stuff, unfortunately, because creating stuff is the amazing part, and all of this part is the boring but absolutely needed stuff. I'm also looking into like applying for art funds and stuff like that, which I think could be interesting. But jewelry is a bit in the middle. It's not an art form like painting, but it's also a bit problematic because you need a lot of tools. You need a workshop with a lot of tools. So yeah, but I'm looking into that as well. Yeah, we're now at the stage where we want our jewelry to be shown to the world, and I'm not really good at it. Marco, who's over there somewhere, is the person who's actually like pushing me to do this, because I would like to just do my stuff and then like bury myself in a hole and not show it to anyone. I hope you didn't find this too boring, because like not complete manufacturing, but I promise I will do some manufacturing this week. So these are the themes I can work with. The themes are around the journey of life, and they are childhood, celebration, inheritance, union, travel, nature, ritual and dreams, fellowship and afterlife. I have to submit 3 objects, and then I have to put an on-paper concept with format and dimensions, and I have to do one of these for each one of the 3. And I'm going to present the crown, which I haven't finished yet, and I'm going to present the dead flower earrings, because obviously they have to do with life and death, and the charm bracelet that has to do with memories and life and celebration of life. So now I'm going to go on and actually do it instead of filming it. As you can see from the light dimming, it's pretty late now, so I'll probably finish it tomorrow or the day after. But I've started it. That's a win for today. I thought I was going to do this flower and another flower down here, but I don't want to. So now I'm designing another flower, and it's going to be 4-petaled, but a lot more like this one. What I usually do is just sketch it roughly. I want one petal to be a bit longer than the other. That's what I'm going to do. I did it a bit big because I didn't want this flower to be too big, honestly. So because I want to use the most of the gold, and maybe I can do another flower on this side, I'll start by defining like where I want to put it. And usually the best way is to just have it that way, so that I can have like a longer petal and use this point, something like that. Then we're going to have 2 shorter petals somewhere around here. I'm going to keep that edge here. I think I'm going to do the same here to give it a bit more space. Said I really want to focus on the feeling that I can have rather than the exact same shape. So I will go for something like this-ish. And what I wanted to tell you is that it's not about having a perfect design. In this case, if I was doing something very symmetrical, then the design would be fundamental. But in this case, where it's more like it's freer, it's about feeling, not feeling like emotional feeling, but like a feeling that something gives like a vibe. Anyway, the thing I'm going to focus the most is when I'm going to shape it and give it volume, because that's when you can actually understand the feeling. A draw is just very two-dimensional. So this is a sketch, and I'm going to go and cut it. So what I'm going to do now is to heat this metal, this 18 karat yellow gold, and it got quite hard and springy because of how I worked it. I rolled it and hammered it, and so now it's quite hard, and I need it to be malleable again so that I can give it a nice shape. So now I'm just heating it up to a nice cherry red, and then I'm gonna hammer it. And if I want to harden it up again, I'll have to work it again, and that's the thing you do like with earring posts and stuff like that. I hope that makes sense. And there it is, all a bit oxidized, but a lot softer. You can't feel it, but you have to trust me, it's a lot softer.
You could try weighing us down, I think we'll get by. We're the sun, we've got to go on. No, you wanna go.
So now it's the end of the day, and yes, I'm dressed like yesterday because normal people do. And I've just finished this flower. That's a total lie. I didn't. I'm tired. I just finished hammering this flower. Let's see if I can zoom in. It's very oxidized, but it's yellow gold actually. And now I'll start to give it a shape. And this is the part that I love the most, because now I get to give it movement and shapes and that subtle touches that really make it what it's supposed to be. I did the leaves for the flower, and I want them to be like really droopy and deadish. So I want them to be like super thin. So I'm gonna make them thinner on my mill. I use a hand mill, and I use it because when I had to buy all the instruments for my lab, it was the cheapest one. So that's the reason why. And also I've heard some incredibly terrible stories of people that had an electric one and things got stuck underneath it, like hair and fingers, and I'd rather use my hand. Anyway, now I am milling this thinner, and once I get to the right thinness, and I think I'm kind of there, this is thin enough. So now I'm gonna go at the flame, heat it up to make it malleable again, and then I'm gonna hammer it to give it that like droopy look, and then I'm gonna find the way it's gonna sit with the flower and see actually if it works, because this is an idea I had in the last 20 minutes, so maybe it doesn't work. That's the beauty of doing a creative job. And by the way, I'm still dressed in this super huge hoodie, which I love, but I still feel I'm Romeo and Juliet's nurse. Well, Juliet's nurse from Romeo and Juliet. I feel like I could go around saying like, Juliet, and things like that. Sorry. That was a Romeo plus Juliet quote, if you didn't know. My favorite film in the world. So I'm gonna eat some pizza because I'm starving. And it's like 8 o'clock here, so sorry, but I'm really, really hungry. I'm Italian. This is like locally made, incredibly cheap pizza, because this is a real luxury of living in Italy. I'll eat this and then talk about jewelry, sorry. So this is the flower and these are the leaves. And I'm going to use these punches, and these go from like really, really small to very big. And I'm going to give it the shape, and then I'm going to fit it so that this will fit on top. And I did it on purpose. This has 4 petals while this has 5, because I think it will look really nice together. So that's what I'm going to do now. I have to be careful with this one just because it's so soft that I can bend it with my fingers. I mean, I could do that, you see, and that I have to be very delicate.
All yours, baby.
So now it's a new day, and I've done all my bits that are here, and now I'll go on soldering each one to the other. So now what I have to do is do the pistils and solder them on the gold, and then solder the gold on the silver, and before that I'm going to solder the silver leaves to the stem. So now it's the end of the week and I managed to do 1 flower again. I know, I'm so sorry. I always say I'm going to do at least 2 and then I end up doing 1. But the earrings that I'm working on as a commission are really complex and exciting, and I hope I can share them with you. Maybe I'll share the process but not the story. I still have to ask because it's a very private story, so I feel it's a bit too much to ask. Anyway, I've finished this flower. I probably will oxidize it. I'm still not completely sure about it, but I think these, like all the dead leaves underneath here would look great in grey. So I'm so sorry that I'm underachieving. I feel like I'm underachieving every week since I started filming, but it's taking like so much of my time. So that's just how it works. So this is what happened this week. So thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.